Hi folks, Teacher Joko here, and I'm doing a review on a student's essay that was posted in the IELTS Tips and Tricks group on Facebook, it got a little bit of ire from the main admin there, Mr. Raphael, for being a question that came from a questionable source. Really, folks, if you want to achieve a high score in the IELTS, then yes, feedback from actual IELTS mentors is a good way, is an essential piece of achieving that high score. And you're not going to get it from a poll where you ask people to give you a band score. This isn't ask the audience type thing. And you're not going to get good feedback if you choose poor questions. And that's sort of what we have here, which led to my title, People Do Dumb Stuff. People should do other stuff too. To what extent do you agree or disagree? That's basically what the question in this submission is asking. Click. There we go. Here's the full thing from a guy. I won't say who it was from. And if you're going to do practice the right way with the right kind of questions. Okay, here's the actual question that was reported from the submission. Full-time university students spend most of the time studying. They do? Says who? I mean, this is not a... Okay, now, when you have an opinion essay, and that's what this is asking you if you agree or disagree, to what extent, you have to thoroughly identify what it is exactly they're asking you to agree or disagree with. And you're under the obligation not to change that statement. Okay? And in some instances it can be hard to identify because it might come in two parts. That's what we have here. This question actually has two statements. Full-time university students spend most of the time studying. That's the premise. Okay? And then the thesis, right, is that they should be doing other activities too. Well, if they're studying most of the time, they're not studying all the time, and they're already doing other activities. I guess this includes sleeping. I don't know. Point being is that here you want to, if I got this question, I'd be challenging the first part. Don't do that. But it's an illustration of how this is a poor question. The premise is flawed. They should be doing other activities too. Well, of course they should. Are they? This writer extended the words spend most of the time studying to spend all of the time studying. And that's a distortion of the premise. Whoops. So when I get an essay and I want to give some feedback on it, first thing I do is I drop it into this website here, wordcounter.net. It's free and all that good stuff. And as we can see here on the screen, 268, that's a fine number of words. That's good. Don't overburden the examiner. 11 sentences, that's fine. One sentence has 53 words in it. Well, I know which, I've already found it, of course. Another sentence has 9. Well, an average of 25 words per sentence is fine. However, we do see that the student, ironically student, 6 times the word students was used. Studying 5 times. Should 3, and then all these other were used 3 times. Avoid this if you can. Avoid using a word 6 times. So, introduction and body paragraph 1. My color coding to the comments I want to make here are based upon the band descriptors. You really need to be focused on writing an essay that fulfills these band descriptors. Yellow is lexical resource. That also includes spelling, word choice. Red or orange is task response, answering the question and supporting your answers. You're supporting your reasons. Blue is coherence and cohesion, which includes things like references, like pronouns, and flow of the essay. And green is grammar. Okay, so what do we got here? I don't want to read it out. Does this still work? I don't.
It is thought that students who are enrolled in full-time at university should have a range of extracurricular activities, and not spend all their time studying. I completely agree with this statement as it will improve their academic performance as well as their well-being.
Okay, it is thought in full-time at university. You're missing some words in here. Who are enrolled full-time at university, or enrolled in full-time programs at university. The first one would be better. Just eliminate the word in there. Enrolled full-time. Okay, at university. Should have a range. There's a typo. You're just missing a space there. I see. Should have a range of extracurricular activities. Do we have activities? I think that have is not the best choice there as well. Do or participate in extracurricular activities. Note we've used the word students already once. And then you have a comma that you really don't need. It's rarely that people put commas that they don't need. Usually they leave them out, as you do with further on down the sentence. And the subject here is still students. So when the subject is the same, you don't need a comma. And not spend all their time studying. It doesn't say they're spending all their time studying, does it? It says most of the time. That's a big difference. I completely agree with this statement. Which statement? Okay. As it, what is it? It's not clear. Is the statement going to improve? Is the statement why you agree? The statement improves it, or the underlying reality? I know you mean the underlying reality, but that's an unclear usage of pronouns. As well as their well-being. Okay, so you've stated your agreement or disagreement. You don't need to present your reasons in the introduction. You do, and that's fine, provided that your body paragraphs support those ideas. To begin with is overused.
To begin with, it is essential that students who are studying all day long to exercise. This is because when a student sits for long hours without moving his lower limbs, the possibility of developing serious diseases such as arthritis and obesity may be elevated. For instance, according to research which was conducted by Baghdad Health Magazine in 2020,
really?
Around 70% of students
70%?
spend their entire day studying.
Entire day?
But exercise such
I
as
bet.
from mild joint inflammation, their weight had increased drastically.
Drastically?
Thus, doing workout on a regular basis is significant
Workout.
for well-being preservation.
Well-being preservation. What does well-being have to do with mild joint inflammation? All right, we'll come back to that. Now, you don't need the comma here. Okay, we use a comma before a relative clause, which is what this is, who are studying all day long, when it is a non-defining clause, meaning that it just gives extra information. You know, my sister, who is a doctor, lives in that house over there. Okay, my sister, who is a doctor, lives in that house over there. Now, those, where the commas are, if I have like 6 sisters and I'm trying to define the one that lives there as opposed to my other sisters, I don't need a comma because I'm defining my sister as the one who lives there. I mean, the one who's a doctor. Whereas the fact that she's a doctor and where she lives has nothing to do with each other, and so it could also be completely extra information. In that case, we do need commas. And it's not. And here we are very confused because we have a comma before the relative pronoun who, but then not one that comes after it. Students who are studying all day long, comma, to exercise. See, that's just gonna, it's blue there because it's incoherent. To begin, it is essential that students who are studying all day long exercise. And then no comma needed there and no to. Essential. What about other activities? I don't think they mean exercise. Activities does not equal exercise. This is because when a student sits for long hours without moving, comma, that's a time phrase. His, what about hers? We don't use his there, we use their. His lower limbs, comma, what? Oh, without moving his lower limbs. Oh, I see. When a student sits for long hours without moving his lower limbs, comma, okay, all right. The possibility of developing serious diseases. Arthritis is a condition. Obesity is a condition. These words matter. Diseases are something that you catch. I'm not going to go into the definition of a disease, but obesity and arthritis are conditions. I know I have both. Will be elevated. Just are elevated. For instance, okay. Oh no, according to research, this means I'm just going to find a bunch of bullshit here. According to research, which was conducted by, we don't need which there, according to research from Baghdad Health Magazine. Is that a magazine name? Should be capitalized? And published in 2020. Around, we're not sure, somewhere around 70% of students who spend their entire day studying without having adequate exercise sessions. We're talking about activities other than studying. This has to do with exercise, not specifically. Suffer from mild joint inflammation. Mild joint inflammation. This kind of goes against serious health, serious diseases. Mild joint inflammation. And their weight had increased dramatically. Since when? Or from where? When? Increased? Thus, working out on a regular basis, does it say anything in this study about whether or not, you could be studying, I guess, all the time and still work out. It's a very contrived, very constructed use of a fake study. And 70% of those fake studies, according to Joko magazine, are completely inadequate in providing adequate support for the points they're trying to make. Work on basis is significant. There's significant again. Isn't there another significant up there? Is significant for well-being preservation. Now that's a collection of words that don't go together. Alright, next.
It is thought that students who are enrolled in full-time begin-winners who are studying all day.
Okay. Furthermore,
spending time on luxury activities enhances brain functions.
Oh.
The main reason for students to study all day long is to receive high grades. However, it is not achievable by only studying. University-level students should not underestimate the benefits acquired from doing an enjoyable activity. Due to when participating in a joyful activity, the brain will start to release a sequence of hormones such as dopamine along with GnRH, which both are responsible for lessening the stress as well as giving the sense of happiness.
That's the 53-word sentence right there.
Capacity will be improved, which will positively affect their academic performance.
How?
In conclusion, I totally agree that university-level students should be having various activities besides studying, as this will improve their academic performance and sustain their physical health.
Okay, furthermore. No, you got a connector there. Luxury, I guess that's a typo. But luxury activities is not what we're talking about here. Luxury and other are not synonyms. Enhances brain functions. Okay, now I know you're trying to be clever here by connecting. Oh, so you want to get good grades, eh? Well, if you want to get good grades, you got to have a lot of dopamine up in your head. I know you're trying to support your idea by finding a connection. That's an admirable goal, but it's not a very strong connection here. Study all day long. They don't study all day long. Most of the time. Mr. Steve, semicolon. Avoid the semicolon. Particularly, however, it is not achievable. What is not achievable? By only studying. Okay. University level students. Once again, we have the word students used again and again. Should not understand. Benefits acquired. No, benefits are not acquired in this by this. You don't acquire benefits. You acquire benefits in your workplace. You know, in this instance, you have benefits, or you don't achieve or acquire them in this context. Acquire when doing an enjoyable activity, such as, can we have some examples of those, other than exercise? Due to when participating, in a joyful activity. I'm sorry, that's incoherent. The brain will start to release a sequence of hormones, such as dopamine. Is dopamine a hormone? I guess so. Along with GnRH, I don't even know what that is, which both are responsible for lessening the stress. When we're using a stress here is an uncountable noun, and we're talking in general. We don't say the stress, we just say stress. As well as giving a sense of happiness. Sense of happiness. How about just happiness? Lessening the stress as well as giving happiness. We don't give happiness. Okay, it's just... So, don't do stupid stuff. Do other things too. Consequently, the brain capacity will be improved? No, that's not the correct word. And certainly what you just said does not support that idea. And how does the brain capacity improving necessarily improve the academic performance? I thought studying improved performance. In conclusion, I totally agree. Should be having. You're showing your South Asian roots here. We do not use the continuous, the ing form, with verbs like have. Have is a stative verb. We should be having. Okay, we don't use ing with stative verbs. Should be doing. Yes, that'd be fine. Doing various activities. They're doing activities without much explanation of what they are. As this will improve their academic performance, not really shown. And sustain their physical health. Well, this does not cross the threshold of ideas which are thoroughly supported, are well supported. There is some support for your ideas, but it is not always relevant, inadequate, and relies basically upon assertion. And that whole fake example thing, that doesn't fool anyone anymore. That's not a good route to go. So you're not going to get to that 7 in task response. Now, in the other bands, you might. I'd probably put you there. But if you get a 7, 7, 7, and a 6 in task response, guess what? You're not getting a 7. Because you got to reach it to get it. So, work on your task response by communicating ideas which address the question more directly. Here, we talked about other activities other than studying. Well, exercise isn't the only one. You only mentioned one, and there you rely upon support, which is dodgy at best. And also choose better questions. And what Raphael said is right. This question is full of it's not IELTS quality. It's very simplistic, and it doesn't even include all of the words that you'll find in the IELTS question. In the IELTS task 2, it always says in the second half of the question, give reasons for your answers and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge and or experience. I got new hair.